Hey guys, hey there. What's up? What's up? I am trying very hard to get this page built up. It seems like it's the hardest thing to do to get everybody moved over here. I see you guys have liked the page, but it's obvious that some kind of way we're not getting that added page way that I can actually invite y'all in. So I'm just posting the videos. Hopefully you guys can come in, take a look at it. Hopefully it'll help you through some of the different stages that we're going through. Um, we're going to talk this morning a little bit about, journaling your way to success and moving past a lot of the interruptions that, may take place that'll stop you from getting to your destination a lot. And guys, what you may want to do is, one of the things that I try to do, I try to keep me like a journal beside me at all times. Even when I'm at work, I try to do this. So that I can jot down, little notes as I'm going along. Hey there, Veronica. Hopefully other people will come in as well a little bit later on. Maybe they'll get used to this page. I think everybody's so used to me being on my regular page that they don't follow me on this one just yet. But hopefully those that are looking, to grab little tips and nuggets and little things like that, y'all will find me eventually. But anyway, I've been sharing a little bit about my phase of the intermittent fasting and how that has really been helping me to get my 2020 started off right. One of the things that I always think about at the end of the previous year, I always try to go in and somewhat reconcile my books, like in the month of October, to kind of figure out, what were some of the gains, what were some of the losses, what were the lessons that needed to be learned, what are the things that I need to add to, take away, all of those things. I can honestly tell you guys, 2019 was a little bit more challenging because there was so much that was brought to the table, as far as my coaching services and my desires in my heart. A lot of things have changed along the way, which makes it a little bit more challenging to hear exactly what God is doing, because I'm in the midst of things that I enjoy all the way around. So I'm trying to find a way to balance all of them, to incorporate what it is that I need, what I don't need, so that I can start the year off great. So one of the things the intermittent fasting has really helped me to do is to help me bring mental clarity. I'm also doing a little bit of JJ Smith's her detox program, but I'm actually doing the one with the apple cider vinegar in the morning time. And guys, I don't even put that in my mouth just yet. I wait until my actual fasting time is over with, which is normally around 11 o'clock, but I'm pushing it a little bit further because I'm not really sensing the urge to try to eat or whatever. I've been hearing so many downloads from God, on this morning on how he wants me to get things organized, the opportunities that are before me. Hey, Mrs. Delcina, the various opportunities. He's showing me that there's actually open window that's standing before me, and I'm getting an opportunity to choose. I want to use my time wisely. So what I have chosen to do is during my quiet time is to actually do some journaling. And yesterday, my journaling to move away any interruptions or I'm not quite so sure about whatever it is. I started journaling I ams on yesterday. And a lot of it is just to kind of remind me of, maybe if there are some discrepancies that are in there with, maybe things that you may be encountering or whatever, maybe something that you're touching and it may not be working the way that you want to. You have to, remember, sometimes you have to kind of cast your net on the other side. Just because one thing is not working for you, it does not mean that nothing is working. It's just that may not be where God's hand is at this particular time. Remember, he said the steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord. And when we delight ourselves in him, when we find our place in him, he will actually give us the desires of our heart. So the early in the morning, I'm doing my I ams. And these are just a few of them that I did on yesterday that I want to kind of share with you guys, that maybe you can, start kind of journaling your way through. Because remember, a lot of this stuff is going to be, you got to change your mindset. You got to change your appetite. You got to rid yourself of things that you don't need for this particular season. You got to find out, whether it be finances, friends, your business, your career, whatever, where you need to be at this particular time. And my AMs actually reminded me. So I want to share with you guys just a few of them of what I actually did yesterday. And then I'm going to share some other things with you what I'm doing as a practical form, so that once I get through with my journaling in the morning time, I'm moving to the next thing I'm doing, like my reading material. What reading material are you using to try to, help you to focus? So a couple of my AMs were, and these things literally came from my heart yesterday, and I just kind of did it as God gave it to me. One, I am a survivor. I am a survivor from all of the, past failures, all of the, sometimes there are things that I didn't think I would make it through. Some relationship challenges. I am a survivor through those things. Raising my children, I look at it, I am a survivor there. Went through divorce, I am a survivor there. I moved to a new city, I am a survivor there. Finally got into a home. I am a survivor. I'm having to remind myself that I am a survivor through all of these things, And then the next thing I placed on there is that I'm an overcomer. I've overcome obstacles that have been, set before me, or set, in my face, or, in my way, or whatever. And as I continue to put God first, that was the key to it all. No matter how I felt or what I thought about it, I had to remember to put God first. I didn't find myself being sunk in what I call the valley of despair, or anything like that. As a matter of fact, remember, we give ourselves a certain amount of time to kind of look at that thing from whatever, sometimes it come in an objective view. And I don't want to call it in a negative view, but an objective, because you have to, look at what perception you're looking at it in. And when it was all said and done, I only gave it a couple of hours to think about it. I gave my emotions the freedom to feel whatever way it needed to feel, because I can't hide who I am. And then at the end of it all, I come back to remind myself that I am an overcomer of that. How do I know that I'm an overcomer? I remember when there were times when I stayed in a place for a long amount of time. I was just circling around in my mind with different things or whatever, but it doesn't take me that long to get to the end resolve of things, because God is who I put my trust in. And the next thing that I placed on here is that I'm learning my lessons. What about you? Are you learning your lessons in life, the things that God has been trying to speak to you, the things that he's been trying to share with you, the things that he's been trying to get over to you? Are you learning your lessons? Or will 2020 be another year of repeat, to where God has to keep saying the same thing to you over and over again? If you think about it, remember he said, my word will not go out void, and my word does not go out void, and it will not come back empty. Whatever it is that God has spoken over our lives, God has promised to faithfully perform whatever that is. So I'm learning the lessons in life. The next thing is that I have on my I ams, and that's a part of my journaling with it, is that I am pursuing greatness. I'm pursuing great things in life. I am thinking of myself as the head and not the tail. I am above. I am not beneath. I am a lender. I am not a borrower. So I pursue greatness in everything that I do. I want to make sure that I have the best of what God has. And sometimes that causes me to slow down and, get God's perception. I remember you learning the lessons in life, and some of your lessons were not to be so quick to do certain things, or don't be so thoughtless about what you're doing. You have to think about other people that it's involving, because sometimes we get tired of waiting, and it's like, well, I'm going after mine now, but you don't realize that you got other people involved in the equation. There are some things that's just not for this particular season. And if you wait for a while, let me tell you something, God will give it to you in the right time, and he's never going to withhold any good thing from you when you walk up right before him. So I am pursuing greatness. The next thing that I have on my list is that I am overcoming obstacles. Let me share with you what I mean by that. This is just in the journaling form of, the intermittent fasting in the morning time, allowing God to speak to my heart, to bring things back to my remembrance. I am overcoming obstacles in life. Every no is not a denial. Okay. Sometimes that can be some of our biggest obstacles is no. We're having to wait on everything. But most of the time, the reason that God gives you a no for something is because he has something better for you. You have not explored all your options. You have not stopped to think about, okay, God knows better than I do about this situation. He has looked at it, from a panoramic view. I'm just in the middle of it all. And many times what we're needing to do, we need to rise above the clouds. Remember, I tell you to come up off this surface level here and move to another dimension in your thinking. This is what happens when you overcome obstacles, that I can't attitude, or, I'll never be able to do that. And most of the time it comes when we have a slight interruption that comes in that looks like something that we've gone through before. But if you will turn the page on that matter, did you have to stop and think, did you turn the page on it last time, or did you take it as face value the way that it was? If you turn the page on it, it's possible that you can see it from another perspective, maybe from another dimension. Let me share with you another thing about overcoming obstacles in life. Sometimes when I get stuck in the middle of something, my natural tendency of who I am normally shows up first, okay? And whoever that person is, whether it's a very mild-mannered or a lack of temperance or a go-getter, whatever, doing all the things myself, whatever. Overcoming obstacles says sometimes I have to allow other people to come in and speak to me about that particular thing. That means I have to open up my heart. I have to share with others, maybe my inner thoughts that may not be so sound to other people, but I share them with people that I trust so that I can see it from another perspective so that I can overcome this thing. Because if I never get an opportunity to allow there to be safety in the middle of counsel, I'll keep making the same choices over and over again, only because I don't reach out to get better insight on this same situation. Have you guys noticed that 2020, some of the desires that you have, they're still with you and you're still pursuing those things? An opportunity is presenting itself to you again, and you're running into some of the same roadblocks, and you may be saying to yourself, oh my God, I can't win for losing with that. No, it's just that you need to turn the page on that. You need to see it from another perspective. And the moment that you open up your heart to do that, God starts ushering in maybe different people. He even changes your outlook on the way that you see it. It could be a situation that takes place with you that causes you to think a little bit different, and it causes you to start overcoming obstacles. Oh my God, is that all it took to overcome that? I was just looking at it from a different point of view. And in that, I always say, thank you, Lord. Thank you for the avenues and the vessels and the vehicles that you sent my way to help me to overcome those things. The next thing of I ams is I am forgiving others. I'm taking the lesson that the Bible taught about, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Those that trespass against us, those that are not where you are in your level of love, or because remember, love is who you are. It's not what you expect to get from someone else. It's who you are, and you have to be comfortable in that. So you have to learn how to forgive other people for not loving you the way that you want to be loved. God's command is that we love our neighbors as we love ourselves. And when you start loving yourself like that, when your neighbor despitefully misuses you, you got to continue to keep going on. Their negative response to you, or their act towards you, should not stop you in any kind of way, because that's not you. You have to remember who you are, and you have to learn how to use the I ams of I am forgiving others. I'm forgiving them already before they do anything. Y'all, I'm even going so far as to remember that every new encounter that I bring into my life, I've got to walk with forgiveness, because some people have not known me that long, or they have not been around me. And if they don't take the opportunity to get to know me, sometimes people trespass against us because all we see is our view, and the way that we go about doing things. I think this is the typical thing that happens in marriages and relationships with our children. It takes a minute to get to know people, why they do certain things, you know, why they don't respond to chaos like you do or whatever. I posted a little something this morning. I was up cleaning up during my quiet time with God, and the Lord reminded me that the absence of order is an invitation for chaos. Any place that you don't have order at, any place that you don't welcome order, you are welcoming chaos to come into your life. Meaning, eventually, you know, you start flocking with those kinds of things. And the moment that you don't give an answer as to who you are, you invite other things to come into your life. So a lot of times, if you see things going in a direction where people are hurting or whatever, it could be that there is an absence of order in your life. Maybe you don't know who you are. And then it has allowed and opened up the door for chaos. You did not let your yes be yes. You did not let your no be no. You have to do those things at the door. The next thing of I am's, I'm staying in my lane. Oh my God, that's something that God gave me yesterday. I'm staying in my lane. I'm not in competition with anybody else. I'm not in a place to where I'm trying to keep up with the Joneses or anything like this. All I want is what God has for me. What God has for me, God already knows that I'm going to share it with the rest of the world. So I'm learning how to stay in my lane. I'm learning how to be comfortable in the skin that I'm in. See, this is just your journaling. You're trying to get to a place called success, but you got to develop a healthy mindset before you can get there, because most of the time, these are the various obstacles that are standing in your way that moves you from giving a yes when you need to give a yes. You end up giving a no where you need to give a yes, and we have these things all mixed up. It's because our mindset is not clear about a lot. So I'm learning how to stay in my particular lane, and I'm learning how to love the journey that God has me on. I'm loving the season that God has me in. I'm loving the skin that I'm in. I'm loving even the changes that are taking place with my life, because change is good. Y'all, I want to kind of leave you with this before I give you the last I am that I have. I'm noticing that in my life, the more I pursue after God, the more God releases his blessings into my hand. And sometimes God's blessings come in such disguises that you don't even recognize them because you've not been there before. You know, you don't know what they say when you cross over this Jordan. All he says is, don't forget the book of the law. You don't know what's going to take place. All you know is going to be a few Hittites, some Jebusites. It's going to be some type of a battle when you get over there. What I am learning is that I've got to learn how to rest in the overflow. God, I'm resting in the new place because I don't know what it's supposed to be like, but I'm taking me in, which is I tell you, it is a gift to wherever I go. I'm reminding people every day that I am a gift to you. You are a gift to me, and we treat gifts as such. So with that, I'm learning how to redeem the time. I'm going back and I'm thinking back on, oh my God, I think I missed a moment right there, because, you know, maybe there was something that came in that I didn't recognize was a shift and a change of something God was doing. And then I responded to it like I did in times past, and then I didn't get the reward. The biggest testimony of that, y'all, and I know it's nobody but God doing it, I often talk about the job that I'm on, how I absolutely love working for Cummins. I know that Cummins is my final stop. I knew that when I interviewed with them. And every day, God teaches me some lessons of love there, because it really is that type of place where you can grow in, when I tell you, in ways that are unimaginable. But when I got there, there was some lessons that I still needed to learn about people, about God's process, about how we start over with things in life. And when you have shifted to another dimension with God, God is going to have you start back on a level with a group that you're moving up to this place right here. It's a place called Gratitude that's there. And I noticed that there started being a few challenges that were there. And y'all, the first thing God said is, don't get stuck in the middle of it. It's just a lesson. It's just a test. And so every day I had to remind myself, God, I've been here before. I remember the days where I had to overcome those things, to where I reminded myself, these enemies I shall see no more. And every day I came in, I kept getting these obstacles with these people where the lack of order is an invitation for chaos. I've already moved past all the chaos in life. I'm trying to bring order. That's my journey in life, is to make life better for people. But sometimes they don't actually know that. And y'all, for about 5 or 6 months, I went through ups and downs with a few people that were just, we were clashing with one another. And God said to continue to love, no matter what goes on, because it's just a place, it's a meeting of the minds that come in. And I just want you to walk in love. And y'all, every day I kept doing it, but I stood my ground on what I needed to stand with. I remember one gentleman came in, and this had to have been one of the roughest ones. I think the guy may be a tight bit prejudiced or whatever, but he has to work in an environment with all kinds of nationalities. So it's probably hard for him to stay there. And plus we teach so much diversity in the place. And I got it. I'm from East Texas. I get it. I understand this. But that had nothing to do with me. My assignment was to love. But the position that I was in, I had to give the order for what we needed to do. This particular guy did not like me being in that place of setting that order like that. That ain't got nothing to do with me. Let's just do what needs to be done. So when I gave him the instructions on what needed to be done, he come back with he's been trying to do it for a while. And I'm like, it doesn't matter what you're saying with that. Let's just get the job done. Okay. If this is the position that I've been placed in, let me do this the way that God has given it to me. When it's your turn, you can do it like that. Case done. It's all over with. We're not going to argue about it. Y'all, I stood my ground. I kept moving forward. Probably about a month. It took him about a month to get over that. But he did what I asked him to do. And all I could do was tell him thank you. I went on and I said, Lord God, this is getting a little bit difficult here. I'm still trying to stay in this set place of where you have placed me. Help me, God, to love the way that you say love. It's not about an individual. It's not about a race or anything like that. It's about where you're taking me to. Y'all, I can tell you, as of this day, there were like 3 or 4 different situations going on. Every one of them have settled. All because I continue to walk in love. I kept the main thing, the main thing. So I say, I am a redeemer of time. I take back everything that the enemy tried to take away from me, my perception about different things. And all I really want to do is get the job done. Let's walk in love. Let's find the best way to go about doing it. Y'all, I left even room for what are your thoughts? I want to know what your thought is with this. Let me know, see if we can't collide together with our hearts and our minds. And before long, changes begin to start being made. So that has been a major hurdle that has taken place in my life. And I'm noticing now that when those opportunities come again, I welcome them more easily, because at the time I didn't look at it as an opportunity. I looked at it as, oh Lord, here we go again. But God said, no, it was an opportunity for you to grow in love. So as I go through the intermittent fasting, God is redeeming the time with me. He's bringing things back to my remembrance now that it's all over with. And God is saying, what do you want to do with this now? God, I want to write some journals I want to write some books about these things. I want you to bring these things back to my memory, because I want the workplace to be a much smoother place to work with. I want people to be able to understand that it does take communication to get, your efforts over or whatever needs to be done. You do not have to fall out about everything. So God, continue to keep teaching me what needs to be learned, which lets me be available for the next thing you have in my life. Communication is probably one of the hardest things. That's why journaling is sometimes so hard, because sometimes we don't always get an opportunity to express ourselves openly, because someone's always trying to put the lid on us. No, you shouldn't say that. No, you shouldn't do that. But when you trust what God is doing in your heart, when you trust what God is speaking to you, it gives you a voice. And that's what you want to do. You want to have a voice in this journey. So I'm changing my mindset about the way that I saw things before, and I don't have to prove anything. All I need to do is state what God has given to me, and I can move on. So there are some things that I wanted to share with you guys. I have picked up just a few books that I'm looking at this. So I'm on my way to some next phase. I've let some people come into my life. So I've got this book called Successful Women, 25 Habits of That. And that's what I'm reading on now. That's my next stage after I have journaled. Now I want to get to, where are my tribe of people at? These 25 habits of successful women, I want to know what they're doing. I want to know, God, am I in that vein? Is it something that I need to leave behind and move into? So now I move from the journaling phase throughout the day, and I go into my reading stages. And as I read, I learn new synapses are growing in my mind every day. New levels of thought are taking place in my mind every day. And I'm moving from this dimension where I did not know those things before, and all I'm looking at is the natural. I'm moving up to another level because God is giving me different insight. Well, I hope this helped you guys with your journaling phase. Take time. I'm telling you, this first part of the year, January, use this as a great time to go into fasting, intermittent fasting. You don't have to, not eat all day, but just to take a few hours of the morning. You're sleeping the majority of the time. I normally start at 8 o'clock in the evening, where there's nothing that goes in except maybe water until the next day. And most of the time it's at 11 o'clock, but I have gone as far as 1 and 3 o'clock. It just depends on what God is through speaking. When you open up your mouth to follow and do what God tells you to do you know that you give a release on the inside for God to start working out the next thing in your life, the next phase? You also usher people into your life to start coming in that has a piece to the puzzle. So today, I want you to look for those people. They're on their way. The more you keep putting your I ams in, the more God is going to send in what it is you need for your life. The steps of a good man, they've already been ordered by the Lord. And when you delight yourself in him, he will give you the desires of your heart. Thank y'all for joining. I am Marilyn Pettigrew, and I hope you guys will join me one day for my coaching sessions. I would love to have you in there. Hey, and we don't discriminate. It's just not for women. It's for family, men, children, all of that. You guys be blessed, and I hope to come back to you on tomorrow with some more nuggets on journaling. You guys be blessed.